Most people think the Kardashians invented using marriage as a business strategy, but they're about a century and a half late to that particular party. Alva Vanderbilt perfected the art of matrimonial mergers long before prenups and reality TV cameras made such arrangements socially acceptable, treating high society like a conquerable fortress that just needed the right siege tactics. While modern celebrities might shock the world by divorcing after 72 days, 19th century society wives were expected to maintain their marriages even if their husbands collected mistresses like some men collect vintage wines. Breaking those rules required the kind of audacity that would make today's social media influencers seem positively timid by comparison. One woman possessed exactly that level of calculated boldness, along with enough strategic genius to turn a scandalous divorce into the foundation for reshaping American society. In today's episode of Old Money Allure, we reveal how one person's refusal to stay quietly miserable in a marble palace accidentally helped change the course of American history. If the Gilded Age had casting directors, they couldn't have picked a more perfect villain-heroine than Alva Erskine Smith. Born January 17, 1853 in Mobile, Alabama, to a cotton merchant whose Civil War losses would have made Gone with the Wind look like a minor inconvenience, Alva possessed the ambition of a military general and the social radar of a heat-seeking missile. The Vanderbilts, meanwhile, were America's wealthiest social rejects. Their new money railroad fortune, a jaw-dropping $94 million at the time, might as well have been Confederate currency at Mrs. Astor's legendary balls. The old guard Knickerbockers saw them as glorified train conductors, their bank accounts having the unfortunate aroma of coal and commerce rather than generations of inherited wealth. Enter William Kissam Vanderbilt, born December 12, 1849, a man whose temperament was as mild as his bank account was robust. Contemporaries described him as friendly, cultured, and even-tempered, which in the cutthroat world of Gilded Age marriages made him the perfect cash cow for an ambitious bride. Their 1875 wedding merged Alva's steel-trap social intelligence with William's bottomless bank account, a corporate merger disguised as a marriage. They produced 3 children, Consuelo, William Kissam, and Harold Sterling, while maintaining what modern therapists would diplomatically call irreconcilable differences. Historical accounts paint Alva as strong-willed, arrogant, ill-tempered, opinionated, liberated, and tyrannical. She reportedly dismissed her husband as a weak non-entity and called marriage legalized prostitution, sentiments rarely found in Victorian valentines. William, for his part, seemed content to fund his wife's social campaigns while spending as much time as possible aboard his yachts in the Mediterranean. When William Henry Vanderbilt died in 1885, leaving his son $65 million, roughly equivalent to Jeff Bezos finding loose change under his sofa cushions, Alva unleashed her master plan for social domination, her opening salvo, a French chateau-style mansion on Fifth Avenue, so ostentatious it made Versailles look like a starter home. But the pièce de résistance in Alva's social warfare came on March 26, 1883, when she hosted a costume ball so lavish that its $250,000 price tag would make even modern Met Gala attendees clutch their pearls. The guest list was meticulously engineered with one target in mind, forcing Caroline Astor, New York's reigning social queen, to acknowledge the Vanderbilts' existence or doom her daughter to missing the event of the decade. Mrs. Astor capitulated, leaving her calling card at the Vanderbilt mansion, the 19th century equivalent of being accepted into Harvard. Every newspaper in New York covered the triumph, and Alva's position as a social force was secured. She followed this victory by helping found the Metropolitan Opera as a direct challenge to the exclusive Academy of Music, which had excluded nouveau riche families like the Vanderbilts. Her crowning architectural achievement was Newport's Marble House, completed in 1892 at a cost that would make modern billionaires flinch, $11 million, with $7 million spent on marble alone. Designed as a temple to the arts, locals more accurately saw it as a temple to the almighty dollar. While Alva conquered society room by room, William found comfort elsewhere, establishing the Jockey Club, racing thoroughbreds, and allegedly enjoying the company of mistresses. Most deliciously scandalous were rumours of his affair with Consuelo Isnaga, the Duchess of Manchester, who happened to be Alva's childhood friend. The irony that his alleged mistress shared a name with his daughter provided endless fodder for society gossips. As the 1890s dawned, Alva had achieved everything she wanted: social dominance, architectural monuments to her ambition, and entree to every exclusive drawing room in New York and Newport. But beneath her triumph lurked a radical realization. She no longer needed William or his name. The social climbing scaffolding could now be dismantled, leaving only the question of how to exit a high-profile marriage without sacrificing her hard-won position. The answer would shock American society and ultimately help build its future. When most Gilded Age wives were perfecting needlepoint and producing heirs, Alva Vanderbilt was orchestrating social coups that would have impressed Machiavelli. Her infamous 1883 costume ball wasn't just a party. It was psychological warfare disguised as a social event, with every detail calibrated for maximum impact. The ball itself made modern celebrity galas look like kindergarten birthday parties. 1,200 guests arrived in costumes costing small fortunes. Mrs. Cornelius Vanderbilt II came dressed as an electric light bulb, complete with working battery, while Alva herself appeared as a Venetian Renaissance princess. The entire affair cost over $250,000, more than $5 million in today's currency, and transformed the Vanderbilts overnight from social outsiders to the epicenter of New York society. With society's gates successfully stormed, Alva advanced to her next objective: architectural dominance. The Fifth Avenue mansion featured a ballroom modelled after Versailles' Hall of Mirrors because subtlety was never Alva's strong suit. But her true monument to excess was Newport's Marble House, completed in 1892 at a cost of $11 million. With 500,000 cubic feet of marble, the cottage, Newport's charmingly misleading term for mansions, required 150 craftsmen working for 4 years. One visitor described it as a palace that makes the proud edifices of American royalty look like tenements. Between social triumphs and architectural statements, Alva revolutionized American culture by helping found the Metropolitan Opera in 1883. This direct challenge to the Academy of Music, which had limited boxes and excluded nouveau riche families, created a new cultural institution where wealth trumped lineage in securing the precious boxes that signified social arrival. While Alva waged her campaigns for social supremacy, William pursued his own interests with equal dedication. He established the Jockey Club, maintained racing stables, and spent increasingly little time in the marble palaces his wife was commissioning. Their marriage operated less like a romance and more like a business partnership with clearly defined roles. William provided unlimited funding, Alva provided the strategic vision for deploying it effectively. As the 1890s dawned, with her social position secure, Alva shifted focus to her daughter Consuelo's future. Pretty, wealthy, and now carrying the socially validated Vanderbilt name, Consuelo represented the ultimate trophy in Alva's social chess game. European aristocracy, cash poor but title rich, presented the perfect opportunity for a final social conquest that would transcend American shores. Meanwhile, William's interests increasingly drew him across the Atlantic as well, though for rather different reasons. His rumoured affair with Consuelo Isnaga, the Duchess of Manchester, provided endless whispers in drawing rooms on both continents. Society wits couldn't help noting the peculiar coincidence that his alleged mistress shared a name with his daughter, a fact that would have made Freudian analysts reach for their notebooks. The Vanderbilts' marital arrangements grew increasingly separate, with William aboard his yacht and Alva presiding over Newport's social season. She had effectively achieved independence within marriage, controlling vast resources, commanding social respect, and operating with minimal interference from her husband. The question lingering in the background was whether she still needed the Vanderbilt name at all. A potential catalyst for change appeared in the form of Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont, a wealthy family friend whose attention to Alva raised eyebrows in social circles. Whether their relationship began before or after her marital troubles deepened remains debated, but Belmont would soon play a crucial role in Alva's next social revolution. By early 1895, to 20 years of strategic marriage, both Vanderbilts had extracted what they needed from their union. William had secured his family's social position through Alva's machinations, while she had leveraged his fortune to achieve unprecedented social power. The stage was set for a dissolution that would shock society and establish new precedents for wealthy women seeking independence from unsatisfactory marriages. The woman who had conquered New York society was about to attempt her most daring maneuver yet, and American society would never be quite the same again. In March 1895, Alva Vanderbilt did something more shocking than wearing last season's fashion. She filed for divorce from William K. Vanderbilt on grounds of adultery. The news hit New York society like a locomotive at full steam, leaving diamond-encrusted monocles shattering across Fifth Avenue. Divorce in 1895 wasn't just scandalous, it was practically extraterrestrial among the social elite. When marriages soured, high society couples typically opted for discreet separation. He kept a mistress in Paris. She developed mysterious headaches, and both attended the same social functions with glacial politeness. Alva's decision to pursue a complete legal dissolution revealed the same tactical boldness that had characterized her social ascent. New York state law made divorce exceptionally difficult, with adultery standing as the only legal grounds until 1966. For most wives, this created an insurmountable barrier. But Alva had an ace up her silk sleeve. William's extramarital activities were apparently so well documented they could have filled a moderately sized library. Some historians suggest William may have cooperated in the proceedings, possibly even arranging for a mistress stand-in to provide the necessary evidence without excessive scandal. Divorce by mutual arrangement disguised as moral outrage. The legal team operated with the secrecy of a military operation. Alva's lawyer later boasted about keeping court records sealed, noting with satisfaction that journalists were indignant not to be able to get any of the particulars, and that there has been no filth in sight. The whole thing has been kept profoundly secret. In an era when the penny press turned divorce trials into public entertainment, this discretion was both unusual and strategic. The financial settlement rewrote the rules for high society divorces. Alva secured an estimated $10 million, a sum that would make modern prenuptial lawyers weep with joy, along with custody of their 3 children and several properties, including Marble House. This unprecedented arrangement demonstrated both the vastness of the Vanderbilt fortune and Alva's extraordinary negotiating position. The social consequences were swift and severe. Society women cut Alva at church, pretending not to see her with a thoroughness that would make modern ghosting seem amateur. Invitations vanished, doors closed, and the social world she had conquered through decades of careful maneuvering seemed to crumble overnight. Yet unlike most divorced women who faced permanent social exile, Alva had prepared her counterattack. With vast wealth, multiple properties, and most importantly, a strategic brilliance that had already conquered society once, she was uniquely positioned for a comeback. Her position was strengthened by 2 crucial factors. She had initiated the divorce rather than suffering the humiliation of abandonment, and the grounds were William's infidelity rather than any moral failing of her own. Even while navigating social rehabilitation, Alva orchestrated another triumph: the marriage of her daughter Consuelo to Charles Spencer Churchill, the 9th Duke of Marlborough. Scheduled for November 1895, just 8 months after her divorce, this transatlantic alliance represented the ultimate social achievement, merging American industrial wealth with European aristocratic lineage. The arrangement had just one significant flaw. Consuelo had absolutely no desire to marry the Duke. She had fallen for Winthrop Rutherford, a young American man, but Alva would not be denied her aristocratic son-in-law. According to historical accounts, she effectively imprisoned her daughter, threatened to shoot Rutherford, and claimed she would die of a heart attack if Consuelo refused to marry the Duke, maternal manipulation that would make modern therapists fill entire journals. This created a situation dripping with irony. Alva, recently divorced and socially ostracized, was orchestrating one of the Gilded Age's most prestigious marriages. William reportedly spent $10 million on the arrangement, essentially matching Alva's divorce settlement. The Duke, for his part, made no pretense about his motivation, openly seeking Consuelo's substantial dowry to renovate his ancestral home, Blenheim Palace. While arranging her daughter's unwanted marriage, Alva was cultivating a relationship that would soon provide her social redemption. Her connection to Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont, whether it began before or after her divorce, was evolving beyond friendship. As New York society was still reeling from the divorce scandal, Alva was preparing yet another social grenade that would explode convention and complete her remarkable comeback. The woman who had rewritten society's rules was about to prove that even divorce couldn't stop her social dominance, and in doing so, would create a template for wealthy women's independence that would help reshape American society. Just when society thought Alva had exhausted her capacity for scandal, she pulled her most audacious move yet. In January 1896, barely 10 months after her divorce, she married Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont. Society matrons who had just finished clutching their pearls over the divorce now found themselves in need of smelling salts. Gossip erupted like Mount Vesuvius about how long this relationship had existed. Rumours dating back to 1888 suggested William had once discovered Belmont hiding in a closet in their home, a social faux pas slightly more serious than using the wrong fork at dinner. William allegedly used this discovery to justify his own extramarital activities, creating a marital standoff of mutual infidelity among the elite. Whether these rumours were founded or not, Alva's remarriage accomplished something remarkable. It restored her social standing with the efficiency of a magic trick. As Mrs. Belmont, she was mysteriously acceptable in the very drawing rooms that had banned her as a divorced woman. She became mistress of Belcourt Castle, Belmont's enormous Newport mansion, giving her 2 palatial Newport residences within strolling distance, a real estate portfolio that would make modern billionaires envious. For Alva, the restoration was complete, but for Consuelo, married life was proving less than fairy tale perfect. The Duke of Marlborough, having secured his American dollars, showed little interest in the American bride attached to them. The marriage that had cost William $10 million and Consuelo her happiness would eventually end in separation in 1960 and formal divorce in 1921. The defining transformation in Alva's life came in 1908 when Oliver Belmont died, leaving her a wealthy widow. Rather than retreating into conventional mourning, she underwent a metamorphosis as dramatic as a butterfly, emerging from a chrysalis made of dollar bills, from social climber to social reformer. She embraced women's suffrage with the same tactical brilliance she had once applied to storming Mrs. Astor's ballroom. In 1909, she opened Marble House, once a monument to her social ambition, for a suffrage symposium, and founded the Political Equality League to support pro-suffrage politicians. The woman who had once spent millions on marble palaces now redirected her resources towards securing the vote for women. Her conversion to the cause wasn't merely fashionable dabbling. In 1912, she led the Political Equality Division of the Women's Vote Parade in New York City. By 1916, she had co-founded the National Woman's Party with Alice Paul, organizing White House picketing campaigns that brought unprecedented attention to the suffrage movement. The strategic genius that had once orchestrated the legendary 1883 costume ball now planned political demonstrations with equal effectiveness. Just as she had forced Mrs. Astor to acknowledge her by hosting an irresistible event, she now pressured politicians through carefully orchestrated campaigns. She served as the National Woman's Party's president until 1933 and purchased its headquarters in Washington, D.C., now preserved as the Belmont Paul Women's Equality National Monument. Alva's wealth, derived from both her Vanderbilt divorce settlement and Belmont inheritance, made her the primary financial engine behind the militant wing of the suffrage movement. The financial independence her divorce had secured enabled her to fund controversial tactics without fear of economic reprisal. In January 1917, she organized the first White House picketing campaign, resulting in numerous arrests that generated valuable publicity for the cause. While Alva reinvented herself as a suffragist, William retreated to France, built a chateau in Normandy, established a horse racing stable near Deauville, and remarried Anne Harriman in 1903. He died in 1920, leaving a legacy primarily connected to his wealth and racing interests rather than social or political impact. Alva's remarkable transformation from Gilded Age social climber to pioneering suffragist contributed significantly to the passage of the 19th Amendment in 1920, and she continued advocating for women's equality until her death in Paris in 1933. Her scandalous divorce, once seen as social suicide, ultimately provided the independence and resources that enabled her most significant contributions to American society. The woman who had once built marble monuments to social ambition ultimately helped build something far more lasting, a more equal America. With that said, we'd love to see you in the comments. Which aspect of Alva Vanderbilt's life do you find most fascinating? Thank you for watching another episode of Old Money Allure. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.